Hello and welcome to the Yarnings Podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 76. I think I'm calling it The Optics of Finishing, or The Optical Powers of Finishing, or My Seeing Superpower Made Me Finish All the Things. Those are all great ideas, right? It is December 21st, 2015. It is late afternoon on a cloudy day that was very windy before. Right now, I don't see barely any wind in the neighbor's trees, but we had some pretty big windstorms earlier in the day. Hopefully too many people didn't lose power. That was the big worry with this wind advisory, wind warning, I don't know, it was whatever the higher version was. We've also had a lot of raining going on lately. So, with all that weather report, let's move into some life stories. I didn't intend on missing a few weeks of podcasting, but life got in the way this time of the year. We have had, like I said, we've had some really rainy days, and the day, 2 weeks ago, that I needed to be out of the house, it rained so hard that there were roads closed and it was craziness, but I went out in it and the paths were all like rivers, and so I had to wear my rain boots, which are not so supportive, and I hurt one of my feet. I have a bad ankle. I'm more susceptible to that being a problem. But this time, I guess I stepped on it wrong. It's just still really sore. So I've done a lot of resting the last few weeks, and that means I haven't had as much energy to be ready to sit and podcast, I guess. Been putting all that energy into resting and knitting and doing those kind of things. So, needless to say, Remodelerama has slowed a bit. I knew it was going to slow a little bit leading up to Christmas, but it slowed even a little more than I thought. We've still got drawers that are missing some of their contents, but we've been slowly adding to the dishwasher loads the things in the garage that need to be moved in, and so that's been great. So I will have more short stories about that kind of stuff coming up in the near future. We do have Christmas decorations up, just a small amount. We didn't find a tree, but we have a nice small amount. We have a little tree, and that is cheerful. I put up some lights in a couple different places, so that's good. Other life stories. My husband's birthday was last week. We didn't do anything too big. We just did some small celebrating, just the two of us, and we had a nice time. And I got glasses. For a while, my vision has been a little fuzzier, and especially I've had a harder time adjusting my vision from close, so looking at my knitting, to farther away. When I'd look at things farther away, I had a harder time focusing in on them. So the eye doctor said it's astigmatism, which makes it hard for my eyes to adjust. And so these glasses, I can actually see all of the words on the bookshelf. I mean, it wasn't like I couldn't. I just had to do a lot of extra focusing to make it happen. So in theory, I'm supposed to wear them all the time, but in theory, this might help with some of my headaches. If my headaches were being caused from, or partially from some of this, that could help. So I like them. They've got different layers of color on the inside, so you can see the teal and the yellow. I like that they're kind of geeky. I like that they definitely show the pinky red color that is what's in my hair. So it's an easy match for me in my wardrobe. It's a nice pinky red, so it can go with pink or red, and I don't have to worry about what's gonna clash or whatever. I wanted something a little more bold rather than something that was just gonna hide on my face. If I was gonna wear glasses, I wanted them to be cute and geeky. I like the fact that they're the nice thicker geek girl, sort of geeky frames at least, and so yeah, I'm happy with them. So that is my new optical seeing power enhancement. If I had superpower, maybe that's what it would be. Okay, with all that silliness, let's move into some yarnings and adventures in knitting. I have 2 finished objects. The first one is my Calais hat. It's coming out a lot more. Let's see if I can get it closer here and just get you the color, but yeah, it's just looking really brown, but really in person it's more purple. So it's a nice slouchy hat. It's got a nice brim that keeps it on well. I have not washed it yet or blocked it, so I'm showing you guys things that are finished but not done. Both of my FOs, they got their ends woven in, but it's got a linen stitch and then these furrows of garter stitch that go all the way up to the crown, and then the crown is in garter stitch, and I love how that detail looks. It really gives it a fun feeling. So this is the Calais hat by Becky Herrick, I think. It's from the Cast Iron Cast On book that I reviewed from Cooperative Press. You can go back and look at the episode for that. I think it might have been 71. And I enjoyed this. I did modify. You can kind of see the texture in here where it's a little dotty. I wasn't seeing enough payoff from that, and I wanted it to be a little more conversation knitting, and so I just switched to having plain stockinette separated by the garter stitch ridges rather than continuing with the little dots, because that took a lot more concentration. For the body of the hat, it is Bumble Birch Vernacular, which is in the other bag in the other room, my label. And the little accent in the linen stitch there is my hand spun. That is I have these little things that I did. They were ply on the fly practice, and I have 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and it was on my trindle. So it's a little thick and thin, which was just fine for this. The vernacular has a little more character because it has the little nubblies, and so it worked well with the hand spun. Wish you could see the colors a little better, but it's definitely more purple than it's showing on the screen. Maybe it's my pink. I don't know. Anyhow, this is a nice hat, and I'm looking forward to washing and wearing it. And I mainly block my hats just to give it a good washing, because it tends to make things lay a little better. I don't think it necessarily needs it, because I haven't knit on it when I've been in dirty situations like out in the grass or anything, but I do like to give it one good blocking before I start wearing it. The other thing that I finished this yesterday and then finished tacking things down this morning, and I'm not wearing it because it's not yet blocked, and I think it's going to really change how it looks when it's blocked, so I will show it to you guys again after I block it. This is my On the Motorway. I absolutely love the cables. Look at that awesomeness. These pleats here, once I block them, I think they're going to lay so much nicer. my finishing accent, I was worried I was going to run out of yarn. And so to solve that problem, I did something that I super duper like. So it has a folded hem with a turning row. And for that turning row, I started knitting in a darker color. I had a little bit of, this is Blue Moon Fiber Art Socks That Rock Heavyweight. I had a little bit of that left over from some thick socks that I had made. And so it's the same base. It's kind of one of their darkened colorways. It's the Ravens, I think. And it's black with little bits of blue-green in it. So it's very subtle color change. And you're only really seeing, unless you look underneath, you're only really seeing that little row of trim on there, the little dashes. But in the edge of the neckline, you can kind of see the edge of the black peeking out. The sleeves, even more subtle. I mean, you're not going to often see, there's buzz on there, that's another color. You're not going to often see the inside of it, but I know it's there, and I love the little accent that it gives. It just felt kind of like couture finishing. And the only reason I know anything about couture is listening to the Knitmore Girls. But I really like how that looks. I really like how the folded hem looks in general anyhow, but this just elevates it one step further. So I'm planning to wear this on Christmas. I had considered waiting a podcast until I had it washed and blocked, but that would have meant holding off a few more days. And so you guys got to see the sneak peek of it before it's been blocked. But look at those cables. I really like it, and I'm really excited about wearing it. So that was 2 big finished objects for me. What do I have left on the needles? So you saw me at the top of the show. This was On the Motorway by Adrienne Larson from, the Midwestern Knits book that I kickstarted and participated in the knit along slightly. And so, yeah, and I told you the yarn. I am working on my Pannekoeken socks. This is Spartacus Dyes in her Will and Grace sock base in the Pannekoeken purple colorway from ZK this year. And I am close to having the same length of the leg as the foot. So, let's see how much, where I'm at with yarn. I still have 31 grams, so I can do a bit more. I just definitely will start with the ribbing sometime soon here, and I don't know, it feels like more than that. But I'll give it another few inches before I start the ribbing, probably. I brought these with me to the games this weekend, and so they are just zooming along now that they have heels. I think that they had heels last time I showed you guys. But that's that. I will leave those out because I might still knit on them. The other work in progress is very, very wee, and I left it in the other room. Where did I put it? I swear I brought it in here. Okay, like magic, I am back. This is the very, very start of the Memorial shawl by Heather Zappetti. Which edge is which? So this is the top edge, and this is the edge that will be picked up to have a lace border. I am alternating 2 colors. It's a striped shawl with a lace border, and I am using my long time hoarded colorway of Huckleberry Knits Silk and Silver, which when I bought it, I said it looked like a Christine Christmas color because it's got it's got pinky reds rather than red reds and greens and browns. So, but I don't think that it is only Christmassy. I think I'll be able to wear it more often, especially pairing it with this one, which is Panoply of Peacock's Fingering by Alicia Goes Around. AliciaGoesAround.com. This is wool, cashmere, nylon, MCN. It's a heavier fingering weight, perhaps because it's 360 yards, over 115 grams. And this was a gift from my friend Karen Balke. It's beautiful pinky purples, kind of a winey purple. And these stripes are super making me happy. Am I up? Oh, I'm showing you the opposite side. This side is a little more clear. You can see where the greens go together and the purples go together and stuff. So I think this is going to go super fast and knit up to be a really nice shawl. I'm hoping to make it just a touch bigger than the pattern calls for without running out of yarn. So we'll see. But again, I just started on this on Friday when I had an Aunt Christine's knitting school with my niece. And this and another project, I think the hat, when I was finishing it, were living in this Java Jenny bag. The other project was inside another Java Jenny bag. Okay. I don't know what my next projects are going to be. I just cast off an accessory and a garment. I want another garment on the needles. And so I'm kind of searching for what that next thing will be, and I really don't know, and I wish that I knew. I wish that I was already together enough that I had something being swatched. So I need to look through my stash, probably just my stash from Ravelry. I don't need to pull out bins or anything because I've got it all there, and pick out what yarn I want to knit with next. I've thought about knitting with some Noro. I have a bunch of Noro Silver Thaw. I think is way up there. That is left over. I used half of a set of yarn. I had 10 skeins of Noro Silver Thaw, which is long discontinued, but I made my Lady Eleanor out of 4.5 skeins. So I have a lot left. I have enough for a sweater of some sort. So that is a consideration because it's a nice heavy yarn that I wouldn't want to work with in a lighter climate, in a less warm time of year. No, other way around. You know what I mean. So that's a consideration. But I need to figure that out because I'd really like to have something on the needles during the Christmas weekend, but at this rate, I don't know that I will. So the socks are going to finish pretty quick, and that shawl's going to zoom. I'm not going to have any knitting. I can always cast on another pair of socks, though. I do have a stash enhancement. This was a custom order that came in for me a couple weeks ago. I think I had it here last week, and I forgot to show it to you guys last episode. This is my first Another Crafty Girl yarn. These are Board Game Geek inspired yarns. So this one is her strong sock, so it's 80/20 merino nylon. It is Countryside Castle, and it is inspired by Castles of Burgundy. These are all of the colors and the tiles of Castles of Burgundy, and I so love this. The games were there. They aren't. They're downstairs now. We did move them. This is very inspired by the cover of the game board, and I just really love it. And it makes me really happy knowing that she dyed this because she loves this game, and we have that connection. We both see each other posting it and comment on each other's plays, and that makes me happy. And then I had to get the Twinkle sock, which is 75/25 Stellina in Galactic. So this is based on the cover of Race for the Galaxy, and I think she got this so spot on. It looks so perfect compared to the game box. And it looks like the box for the base game, the original one. Oh, I just love this so much. And it's really a nice sparkle. I don't know how much you can see. Yeah, you can kind of see there. A little glittering. I am so excited to knit these and play the games that correspond while I'm knitting on them. Obviously, they're not going to go together. This one may be socks. This one will probably have to be a shawl because it is so fabulous. Kind of makes me want to get another skein of her yarn that is a semi-solid to go with it so that I could do something striped, but that might be excessive. So I'm really excited to have my first yarn from her because she's a Midwest dyer and not at any of the shows that I go to, but I see a lot of my Midwest friends buying her yarn, and I have long wanted some. When she came out with these, I especially knew that I needed them. Okay, that was my phone beeping. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's move into spinning a tail. I finished just this morning my Rad Ultralight at Night by Knitty and Color, which is not in there. It's in the bin in the other room. It came out amazing. So I have 3 skeins here. One of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. They have not been washed yet, soaked and thwacked or anything. All of the singles rested for a while, but the plying was finished today. So you can see it's a chain ply. The colors all work together really, really well because of that. It's going to make, here I'll undo this. Let's see if I can undo it with the tie in there. The tie is going to be in the way. It progresses really nicely in real life, but once it got tied up, it doesn't have quite the same excitement level as it did on the Nitty Knotty. But it is fabulous. As I was spinning, I was getting a lot of lights and darks of the plies themselves, and so that all balanced out really nicely when I plied it, and I am really excited about this. The yardage, I put it in here, but did I finish? Let's see if I saved that yet. It's on the other screen. It's like 126, 122, and 88, so it's 370 or something like that, if I recall. So it's probably a sport weight. It was 120 grams, I think, and I'll have all the details on my stash page. I would love it to be a shawl, but it's not enough to do a big shawl. I was hoping it would be a little lighter, but then when I chain plied it, that was. You can see that the third skein is a little finer if you compare them, but they're still close enough. So I might stripe it with something. I like striping. If you hadn't noticed, let's knock something on the floor. Let's see if that's important. Oh, that's my another crafty girl card. So that's spinning. I don't know which of my fibers is going on my spindle next, but we shall see. I will have to pick something. Stitch through time. So my paper piecing is going amazing. I am not done with this, but I will show you where I'm at. This is the wall hanging I'm putting together, and you can see that there's some empty spots that still need to be tacked down because I'm still adding to the bottom of that as I'm adding them. I'm still adding some of the black ones on the edges too, but it's looking awfully good. You can see that the black ones, these deep black, like that, these are in a consistent pattern. Everything else is a little less it's more randomized, spread throughout the whole piece. So I did the black as the joining. This is going to go on my purple wall downstairs, and it's going to look amazing. I got a dowel, and I'm going to make a little encased hexagon up here that the dowel will stick into, and then I'll have some sort of hooks that will sit on the top and then stretched out to the bottom so that it keeps it taut, because right now it still has most of its paper backing. There are some that have fallen out. You can see a couple. This one here came out. So sometimes when I've gotten all the way around one, they have bent as much as they can bend, and so they pop themselves out. So the back, I will trim some of these ends, but it won't need to be finished any further than that. But I'm really proud of this. This is going to be amazing. So I will need to take the paper, I will need to press it. I got an iron, and I have a little ironing board. My old iron was from college, and I wasn't sure how, kind of was grippy, and I didn't want it to hurt this or anything else I was going to sew. So I need to press it and then take the paper backing out and then hang it after I finish it all. So I've still got more flowers in process, the little motifs, and then a whole row of flowers that I'm piecing. I am going to do 2 pillows and have a flower on each of them. And then, underneath all these things, oh, there were some other things there. I am making a bulletin board for my kitchen cabinet that is going to have a motif hanging off of it. It will have a little chalkboard thing on this side and ribbons on the top for photos. So I'm going to print some of my Instagram photos from the year of some friends and stuff like that. And then this will hang off the end, and it will be all beautiful and tied together. This is a foam core bulletin board. It's got bulletin board material on the top, and it's just foam on the back, and I've taped the fabric down, which doesn't feel like a very elegant solution, but I think it works. It kept it taut. And then I have more fabric, more of the black fabric that's going to be for pillows for our backs on our palm chairs. I have more fabric than I will need. I don't know how to guess yet, but right here, this box, this is my sewing machine. I found a deal after Black Friday and went ahead and ordered it. It went down $25 from what it had been. That seemed like a good enough sign. This one had wonderful reviews, and I'm really excited. So, I'm going to get to learn some sewing. I am going to start with things like the pillows. I'm going to see if I have some old fabric around that I can practice with. I know I had some, but I don't know if I got rid of it yet. And go from there. Maybe make some little bags for my knitting, just some really basic things just to practice. Eventually I want to make clothes. So you guys will see a lot more of that journey over the coming year. It will probably live on this table, so you will be seeing it. Okay. Oh, so the other things that I had over here that I just realized that I hadn't showed you. My Swiffer cover is there in process, but it's all attached to big needles, and I wove the ends in on the 4 dishcloths that I had made a while ago, but they got all woven in this morning. And I wove the ends in on my sand in my toes socks that hadn't been worn yet. Okay, I think that is all the crafting over there. As far as listening to podcasts for knitting community, I have discovered the Sweet Georgia podcast, and I've been listening to the back episodes of that when I am out of the episodes of my current favorites, and that has been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying getting to know Felicia of the Sweet Georgia podcast and the interviews that she conducts. She has some really good people. Okay, so Sagas of Geekery, now playing. We've actually played some games. We have a table again. So, and especially with it being Eric's birthday month, I have been making a bigger attempt now that we have the table again to really do some gaming. So we have played Istanbul with its new expansion and Roll for the Galaxy with its new expansion. We played Castles of Burgundy. I played Jaipur with Leah, which is a 2-player trading game. And then yesterday at Guardians Game Day, we played Merchant of Venus, which is huge and epic and took like 4 hours from getting it out of the box to putting it back in the box. So, I mean, it's a ginormous game, and there has never been enough space for us to try it in the past, but a lot of people were not at game day because it was, I mean, there were still lots of people, but not as many as they pack in sometimes, and so we had a whole table to ourselves, and so we took on playing that bigger game. And then we also played Epic Resort, which that was one of my 2x2s for Fiber and Dice challenges earlier this year. I wish that I could count Merchant of Venus as a 2x2, but I was not going to play it twice. I suppose I could over the course of a year, but it's one of those kind of epic games that unless you own it, you're not going to play it twice in a very close period of time. So that's that. 4 Sagas of Geekery now watching. We watched Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s last episode before the winter break. We finished Jessica Jones. We continued watching Farscape. I think we are in season 4 now. I have watched an embarrassingly huge amount of Person of Interest. There are 3 seasons of it on Netflix. The 4th is still waiting to be added. It is super good. I had watched the first episode when it first came out, and it worried me that it was all going to be about one person's vengeance, and really, it moves on from that pretty quick. I'm so glad I gave it another chance. What else? Oh, Gone in 60 Seconds. We watched that on Netflix. We just needed something easy and cheesy. And then we'd watch millions of times. And Inside Out. I got Eric Inside Out for his birthday because I knew he would enjoy that. He always likes the Pixar Disney movies, and this one I knew he was going to enjoy. So, and I had gotten to see it without him when I was with my friend Rena in the Chicago area after ZK this year, and so he hadn't gotten to see it yet. We finally did, and we had an edition that had the lava short on it, and I was really glad to get to see that again too, because that made me cry again. So, how about now reading? We are nearing the end of For the Win by Cory Doctorow. The storylines are all kind of diverging now, so that's kind of nice. I also picked up Better Than Before, Mastering the Habits of Our Everyday Life by Gretchen Rubin. And she is the author of The Happiness Project, and there's another one that I really enjoyed, Happier at Home. Some of her personality traits resonate a lot with me. So the hardcover came the same day that my Overdrive copy of it came, which is the audiobook system that our library uses. So I've been listening to it by audiobook, but I would like to go back and look at the outline of some of these things in physical form, so I haven't brought it back to the library yet. It might be due tomorrow, so I have to check and see. But let's see. I've gotten pretty far. I'm that far through. It's harder for me to see that on digital, you know. But I am really enjoying this. This has got some really good information, and it's a good time to be reading something like this. But in reality, I like thinking about new weeks as having just as much potential as a new year. So starting a habit, just because it's a new day, or a new hour, or a new week, or a new month, or a new year. New year always seems more epic, but it doesn't have to be. It can be just as good of a time to start as any. So that might actually be our happiness continues for today, because that sounds very philosophical. So I'm enjoying that. Fanciful chatter. I'm trying to figure out how to wear my glasses with makeup. I'm trying to put more makeup underneath my eyes because that's where you can see it, and playing more with lipsticks because you can't see the makeup on my upper eyelid as well. So I need to do some research and find some tips for ways that I can continue to have that color that I enjoy playing with in eyeshadows and have it still show up without going crazy, like all the way up to my eyebrows. So I'm looking at that. For a book of cooking, I made Eric Christmas enchiladas, which we declared one year if I used red enchilada sauce and green enchilada sauce, it would be Christmas nachos. So I did that. We had breakfast for dinner, just some pumpkin pancake mix pancakes. We had homemade pizza for his actual birthday. And we're still resetting the kitchen, so we're still finding places for everything and all that. So it's not quite back to full-fledged cooking mode. And the things that I actually did write down for happiness continues. I got to cut snowflakes with my niece. She came over for Aunt Christine's knitting school, and we were playing with snowflakes. That was fun. I've been participating in the Grinch Along with the Knitmore Girls, where I'm crafting for me, not for Christmas gifts. And I'm also smiling because I know there are some secrets in some packages from friends. I don't have as many gifts from family to be surprised by. We do drawings, and we've already gotten our gift from my in-laws, and my husband got something for me already while I was there, something that I'd wanted. So knowing that I have some secrets and some packages from friends makes me smile. Okay, so that'll do it for today. I will be back to see you again soon and show you more lovely things. So you can connect with me on the internet. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. I am KDLB, just the letters, on Instagram. You can find the group where we talk about our knit-alongs and the episodes on Ravelry as Yarnings Podcast, and the show notes with links to everything that I talk about are at yarningspodcast.com. All smooshed together. Okay, well, until next time, that's the story. Bye.